Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. You know, I've been giving a lot of thought lately as to why people come to my channel and watch my videos. You know, I'm kind of a pretty radical guy, making pretty radical suggestions about the way you live. In fact, if I had my way, you'd all just chuck out about everything in your life and start all over again. And so a lot of you, that really appeals to you. And I hear from people all the time that they don't know how they ended up on the channel, but when they heard it, the first video that YouTube sent them to, thank you YouTube, they were struck. There was something about it that grabbed them, and they had no idea they were interested, but all of a sudden they were fascinated. And I think it's because there is this general level of discontent with our lives, and so when we come across something that has radically different, I mean, just a completely different idea, perhaps you've never even thought about before. Living in a van, who would think about that? Living in a car, in a Prius, I mean, it's just a crazy idea. A crazy idea. But it seems to grab people and hold them, and they get sucked in, and they follow and they subscribe. And you know, there's a real range of that hunger for change, something different, just different. And for some people, it's desperation. I need change now because I'm in desperate trouble. And there's a whole wide spectrum, and there's a lot of people that just think, wow, I would never have thought about that. I wonder how you do this. And so you watch a video about that. Or where do you park if you're going to live out in the woods for free? How do you do that? And they just watch it, they're interested. And there's something about it that appeals to them. Wow, living in a van, going wherever you want, whenever you want. No job, or just work 6 months out of the year, or work a year and take a year off. You know, that just, how can that not appeal to you? And so there's this spectrum of desperate, I must change today, I'm going to be on the street, or if only life were a little better, that sounds so fun. And there's this spectrum. And so it's really, for all of us, it's all about change. I want to talk to you about change and how you can make changes in your life. Just the idea of being different, my life not being the same. Maybe you're tired of the rat race. Maybe you're tired of the meaninglessness of our consumer society, buying stuff, throwing it away. Working hard, working, buy stuff, throw it away. Working for a house you spend a few hours a week in. You know, there's a real openness to change now in our society. Sometimes it's a desperate need, sometimes it's just a longing. Whichever it is for you, this channel offers change. Now, I want to give you two quotes about change. I think they're so powerful. I hope you'll listen to them. This first quote is from Gretchen Rubin. Negative emotions like loneliness, envy, and guilt have an important role to play in a happy life. You know, none of us like feeling that way, but they're important. They have a value. It's like a toothache. You know, a toothache has a value because it tells you got a problem. Or a stomach problem, and you go to the doctor and find out that stomach ache prevented your life-threatening illness. So when you feel this longing for change, that has a value, and all these negative emotions are part of that. And so Gretchen Rubin says, they're big flashing red signs that something needs to change. And so if there's a general discontent in your life, and you've gone looking for a whole new way to live, or you just stumbled across it, and you think, oh, I'd love to do that. That's a sign, that's a warning sign that there's something not quite right. And the more the feelings, the stronger the feelings, the more persistent, the more you know you need to change. And one more quote. This is from M. Scott Peck. The truth is, our finest moments are more likely to occur when we are feeling deeply uncomfortable, unhappy, or unfulfilled. And I think that describes a large part of my audience. You're feeling deeply uncomfortable, unhappy, or unfulfilled. For it is only in such moments, propelled by our discomfort, that we are likely to step out of our ruts and start searching for different ways or truer answers. And so, you know, it's easy to just deal with a slight toothache, or why am my stomach always bothering me at this time of the day, or whatever the minor ache and ailment is, or a deep discomfort with the way you're living your life, and a dissatisfaction with the direction that it's going. You need to listen to those things because they're warning signs. And the more you listen, the more you take action, the better off you'll be. So I kind of went through this myself. In 1995, I got a divorce, and it was just this terrible, terrible low point in my life. I felt like I was a total loser. I'd failed as a husband, as a father, as a provider. After the divorce, I couldn't afford to pay both our rent, so I moved into a van. Man, then I felt I'm a homeless bum. And so I really felt like this total loser. And then a very odd thing happened. For the first time in my life, I was happy. You know, as I solved all the problems and I started to enjoy it, and after a few months, instead of being flat broke, barely surviving, I had extra money in the bank. Wow, how great was that? All of a sudden, I loved the freedom. I could go anywhere I want. I could park anywhere I want. All of a sudden, my life was better than it had ever been. Of course, there was all this turmoil and chaos around me, but in the midst of that, I found some peace for the first time. And as that got solved and things went along, within 6 months or a year, I was profoundly and deeply in love with living in a van. And for the first time in my life, I was at peace and harmony in my life. Now, along with this was a spiritual change. I followed a spiritual path. And so the two work together, this total change on the outside and a total change on the inside. They both happened at the same time. One wouldn't have accomplished the job of finding peace of mind and heart for me. But I found them both by living in a van and the new spiritual path that I followed. The end result was that I came to disbelieve in everything society had told me, that the best way to live was to go to school and get married and have a white picket fence. And I found that the best way to live was to buy a van and live in it and be a nomad. And so I started researching that, and I was curious, how can that be? How can I have missed so much in life? So I started reading every book I could find on anthropology and understanding how humans are supposed to live. So I began this quest. I questioned everything in my life. I threw out all the ideas I had and say I'm going to learn everything new, and not from mom and dad and from schools and what everything I've been taught. I'm going to find out if it's true. And the thing that helped me more than anything else was listening to audiobooks from Audible. I have just found that to be a life-changing experience for me for a long time now. Now, I'm very fortunate that I'm such a fan of Audible because they're actually paying this as an ad. But it's not an ad to me. It's a life-changing thing, and I'm just so glad to tell you and encourage you to go get a subscription at Audible. And that works really well because right now they have a great deal at Audible. With your 30-day free trial, you get a free Audible book of your choice and 2 free Audible Originals. Audible Originals is they find really good authors and they get them to do a book just for Audible. Really great Audible book. So it's just really an amazing deal. To sign up for the free 30 days, you go to audible.com/cheaprvliving or texting Cheap RV Living to 500 500. And you can get it there. Let me give an example of how I listen to these books while I'm driving or while I'm walking or just sitting around in the van to change my life, to question everything. So I've taken a screenshot of my phone. I listen to Audible books on my phone. And so here's a screenshot of 3 of them. I haven't read these yet, but I bought them because they grabbed my attention and I wanted to get them. One is Lost Connections, Uncovering the Real Causes of Depression. I'm going to do a video real soon about depression. Depression is a huge tidal wave of problems in this country. I think it's losing connections and the alienation. And so I'm really interested to see what he has to say. The other is The Anatomy of Loneliness, how to find your way back to connection. And so these are 2 topics I'm interested in, depression and loneliness. So I'm going to do a video on loneliness. And this final book is Behave. And he is an MD, and he combines all the disciplines, the science disciplines, anthropology, the history of humanity, biology, how your brain works, psychology, and he combines them all into say, why do I do the things I do? And that's the big question I have in my life. Why do I do the things I do, and how can I stop doing them? Or how can I start doing the things I really want to do? Because I don't know about you, that's a struggle for me. Well, obviously you look at my waistline and you know it's a struggle for me. And I can look at a lot of people around me at their waistlines and know it's a struggle for them. So, you know, that's something we'd all like to change in some way. There's something in our life we want to change. For me, the best way to make those changes is listening to an Audible book while I'm driving, while I'm walking, making all the best use of my time that I have. I really appreciate it. Now again, I'm being paid for this. This is an Audible ad. But I'm telling you the absolute truth. I love Audible and I use it all the time. Let me go over that special again right now. You can get your first audiobook for free, as well as 2 free originals, by going to audible.com/cheaprvliving or texting cheaprvliving to 500-500. So I'm not just making this stuff up. I'm not being paid because I need the money. I don't need the money. But what I do love is I love Audible, and I love the change that Audible has brought into my life, and I'd love to help you find a way to improve your life as well. And I think they'll help you too. So in all my questioning and exploring, I came across an idea that I just thought really spoke to me. And this idea was that you're either a learner or a knower. And before 1995, when I had this real enormous change in my life, I was a knower. I knew everything. So what happened in 1995, I realized that most of what I knew was wrong, and I threw it all out and I became a learner. And my goal has been to be a learner ever since. And I do that through Audible books, a lot of Audible books. Another thing I've come across recently, and I want to share this with you, and it's the one thing I want to leave with you, that every day you should try to do one of 3 simple things, or all 3 things, and that is either to grow, to give, or to learn. That should be a daily habit of your life. It has become a daily habit of my life. Every day I want to grow somehow in who I am and what I know and what I do. And so I want to grow and I want to learn. None of my ideas are written in stone. They're all subject to change. They're all subject to the next thing I learn. I'm not a knower, I'm a learner. And I want you to be learners. And I think you'll be glad if you become a learner. And finally, every day I try to give. Every day of my life, I try to give some part of me. It can be as simple as a look in someone in the eye and smiling and saying thank you, or saying something nice about them. That's my goal all the time in every way, to give something to someone else. And in big ways, that's little tiny ways, and little tiny ways are good enough. But I try to do it in big ways, and I have more opportunities than most people. But you can do them in small ways, and in tiny ways, and in medium ways, and big ways, as long as you make the determination every morning and every night, I am going to grow, to give, and to learn today. Something, whatever it is. Now I want you to see something as another idea that I think is really, really important and that you can do with these 3 things: grow, give, and learn. Growing is about your heart and your seat of your feelings, the seat of your soul, the seat of your person. And learning is about your head and what you know and what you think. And so many of us, the chasm between our head and our heart is so enormous that we can't live a contented life. Our head says one thing, our heart tells us, no, 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 don't live that way. That's not the way to live. Finally, there's giving. And giving is with your hands. And so here's the key to life. You've got to align and bring into harmony your head, your heart, and your hands. And if you can do that, you'll find harmony in your life. You'll find peace. The negative emotions, the big red warning signs that scream at you, change, 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 something's wrong. They'll go away. They'll slowly diminish if you can bring your head, your heart, and your hands into alignment. And I can't tell you how to do that. I can tell you how I did that. And it's been a very, very long process. And it's been listening to a lot of books and thinking a lot of new thoughts and trying a lot of new things. So I've been doing this since 1995, and I think I've made a little progress, not much, but a little. And it works for me. Every day I align my head, my heart, and my hands by giving, growing, and learning. So I believe I'm going to start a vlog, a personal vlog, where I just talk about myself. And it will be about spiritual things, it will be about science, it will be about learning, it will be about maybe a little bit about politics, not much, that's just so polarizing. And I'm going to talk about me and what I'm doing and how I'm learning. And I'm not 100% I'm going to do it. I have a lot of big ideas and I don't have time to do any of them, but we'll see. At any rate, I hope that you will start today and realize that aligning your head, your heart, and your hands by giving, growing, and learning every day can provide you the life you want. It's a path forward for you. I can't tell you the path, only you can find that. I believe with all my heart the universe will provide you with the path. If you will determine to follow a path, the path will be provided. Your path won't be my path. My path won't be yours. There'll be no one else on your path but you and the whole world. But you'll be on a path and you'll be moving forward and life will get better. And that's what I hope for you. Well, I've talked a whole lot and said a whole lot. I hope you got something out of that in there somewhere. And if you did, like us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment. What do you think? Should I start a vlogging channel? Would you listen about the rantings of a crazy man? A learner who doesn't know anything? I'm a learner who doesn't know anything. Why are you listening to me? Can you follow a path with heart and head and hands in harmony? Would you like to? How will you do it? Write in and let us know. Till next time, folks, I'll talk to you later.